If you're not seeing success with your dropshipping store and you frankly feel lethargic or unmotivated to do the work, then here are a couple things that help me push through those extremely dark days of losing money and frankly losing my mind, feeling like a hamster just testing products and not seeing an end in sight, to now becoming a chill guy that has multiple dropshipping brands doing over 6 figures a month consistently. Now, I don't really care what motivates you and got you into this in the first place. Maybe it was financial freedom or buying a Lamborghini and flexing to chicks with your new Rolex so that you can finally pull that gold-digging Latina that lets you raise a family of 3 D1 babies with you. That's all fine and dandy, and I don't judge. But even with all these goals and all these vision boards and with all these different things, journaling and cold showers you're taking, the fact of the matter is you can't do the work. The most simplest thing of all. And why is that? Well, for most people, it's because you have absolutely fried your dopamine receptors. And I used to be one of the worst cases of this. When I was in middle school and in high school even, I would play FIFA, Madden, Call of Duty, all these games. I would gamble all the money that I was even making at my jobs at these games. I would play for 8 hours a day. I had no friends. I had no social skills. I completely abandoned all those people after school and just was a screen junkie. And to make things worse, I would even watch movies on my phone while playing video games. That's how bad it was. I was an iPad kid. I was absolutely cooked. So I was starting from one of the worst places. So even if you feel like right now, oh my gosh, I'm wasting so much time watching Netflix or just texting my friends because that dopamine of not knowing what they're going to say back to a text or having some drama and tea with the girlies or, I don't know, going through dating apps and then again, like a slot machine, clicking X, keep on swiping to see what's the next thing going to be, or scrolling on social media. What's that next post going to be? It's all forms of slot machine dopamine where you don't know what's going to happen next. And all these apps and all these things on your phone have to do is just give you different responses, different positive inputs at certain points that keep you hooked and keep you reeling right before you're about to leave. It's all artificially done to keep you scrolling and keep you on their platform for as long as possible. And it's hard to break these trends because it's unearned dopamine. It's instant gratification. It's posting and getting likes and getting comments and all this stuff. It's hard not to be addicted because these platforms know how to trick your brain to making you feel like you accomplished something. Now, the first step to defeating this problem, which is going to prevent you from doing the work, because if you currently have low output, when you are sitting at your desk trying to get work done, it's usually because you just don't have the motivation to do things, because it's a lot of times outside of your control, because your phone is overloading you with dopamine. It forces you to have such a high bar, a high threshold for dopamine that doing the work, the joy from testing a product, of finishing creating a new website, of creating ads and having everything ready to go simply does not reach your bar for dopamine, which is why over time it feels like this is a job to you when it really shouldn't feel like that. It should feel like an opportunity. Every product you should be excited by, thrilled by, that you get to do the research of understanding, how can I market this better than everyone else? How can I come up with a new offer, a BOGO deal, a volume discount? Or let me study some websites today and see what bits and pieces I could take. Oh my God, look at that social proof app that they're using. Oh my God, look at what they're doing with their custom images. Imagine what would happen if I did that on my next product test. When you are studying other brands and websites, that should bring you so much joy and dopamine. But because it isn't as high and because you have absolutely fried your dopamine receptors, it simply does not hit the same. It doesn't do it for you. So in order to enjoy these things, which you have to enjoy if you want to be successful, because I have not met one person who's become successful in dropshipping or any business model that wasn't genuinely obsessed and enjoyed doing the little nitty-gritty nerdy details. The only way you can enjoy those things that are going to make you successful, that are going to set you up for life, that are going to allow you to live whatever lifestyle that you want to achieve, that will set you up, is by lowering that bar for dopamine. You have to desensitize yourself to all of the distractions. Your dopamine levels of stimulation need to be lowered. Now, how do you do that? Well, for me personally, I believe you have to slowly wean yourself away from your vices. And you have to audit yourself. You have to know, what exactly is my vice? It could be video games. It could be women. It could be guys. It could be it's and they, thems. I don't know what it is. But you know, if you truly look in the mirror and you truly audit your time, if you look at your screen time on your phone, I'm sure it'll reveal some skeletons in your closet that you don't want to admit are absolutely controlling your time and are not benefiting you in any way. And a lot of times you have to make that hard decision. Because if you don't make those sacrifices of deleting those apps, of sometimes disappointing your friends and not always being around to constantly talk about the latest tea and gossip and whatever's going on in their life, and start prioritizing your life instead, then what will happen is that because you didn't make those sacrifices, what ends up being sacrificed is, of course, your goals and your dreams and what you wanted out of your life. You have to be willing to be the black sheep that isn't as conventional and is living their life the same as everyone else, because you want different things than everyone else. You don't want to be like your friends deep down. You don't want to be like everyone from your hometown. You want to be more than that. You know you have potential, which means you have to act differently. And acting differently, in a lot of cases, means you have to be ruthless with your time, ruthless with your actions, ruthless with your habits and morning routine. Because if you're not, then you're simply not going to reach your potential. If you really look at and study any CEO of a major company or any professional athlete, all of these people are psychotic. When you talk and you watch the Michael Jordan documentary, for instance, everyone would say this guy is a psychopath. He is a killer. He does not have feelings. Tom Brady. These people are so dedicated to their craft, the one thing, that it usually means that they're not very well-rounded. They're not usually great family people or social people. They're not people that go out. Kobe Bryant isn't partying nonstop at the club. These people do not have balance. They are work, work, work. Sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice for the ultimate goal, the ultimate good of setting themselves up for life. So you have to really understand, what is it that you want from this life? Because if you want the 1% things, the 0.01% things, you're going to have to change the way you act. Otherwise, you would have already had those results in the first place. Because before you become a top 1% person, you have to embody that lifestyle. You have to detox that dopamine, especially. And the next thing you need to do is prioritize your time. Because for a lot of you right now, the reason why you're not progressing fast enough is because when you dedicate 3 hours a day that you have, or 8 hours a day, whatever it is, for some untimely reason, you really only get an hour of work done. You have an 8-hour work block, and in that 8 hours, about 2 hours you actually spent doing something productive. And that's the next problem of you can't prioritize and focus. So how do you do that? Well, we already talked about cutting out the bad habits in your life, but you first have to identify our bad habits and then slowly wean them off or go full cold turkey. For me personally, I have to go full cold turkey. I had to get rid of my PS5. I gave it away to my best friend. I had to delete the dating apps because your boy, I'm a horn dog. I hate to admit it. I'm a sex addict. Not really. I've been celibate like all year. Except for this girl I met 2 weeks ago. But besides that. But no, the reality is you have to know those bad habits. Now, the next lesson in terms of prioritizing your time and being more focused, this is one of the best lessons I learned from my first mentor, Dan Henry. Now, when I worked with Dan Henry, I was 18 years old. I had $12,000 in my bank account, and I paid him $10,000 to learn one of these core lessons that really changed my life. And he introduced me to a concept called the circle of focus. And what he basically did in this exercise is that he asked me to break down all the things I spent time doing into a pie chart, essentially. So I would have, let's say, 50% of my time in business and then 50% of my time in school. And he really broke down that, okay, Ethan, everything you put time into needs to be a slice. So I would put in a slice for video games. I put in a slice for playing soccer. I put in a slice for learning piano. And at the end of this exercise, I had about, I'd say 12 different slices. And he looked at this and said, Ethan, at the end of the day, the reason why your business is not successful is because you're half-assing it. You're only putting 20% of your best effort into it. And there is no one that has ever been successful by putting less than 100%. And I thought to myself, and I'm like, he's got a point. Going back to Michael Jordan, the only thing Michael Jordan has ever cared about in his entire life is getting better at basketball. When you look at really successful entrepreneurs, the billion-dollar entrepreneurs, they usually, in most cases, were solely focused on one business. They weren't focused on starting a dropshipping store and also let me invest in some crypto meme coins. And, in the meantime, let me also look at all these other different business models from copywriting to SMMA. No, they focused on one thing. Because even an idiot with a lukewarm IQ that focuses on one thing is going to progress and get dramatically better results than a super genius who focuses on 4 different things at the same time. Your businesses will not progress by having multiple. You can get multiple once you have one main business already fully outsourced, already done and had systems inside that will run for itself. Until you get to that point, which you are not currently at, you should focus all your time on one thing. Because if you think 3 different businesses or 3 different dropshipping stores even is going to be the thing that saves you and makes you successful, no chance in hell. One business, one store, one product at a time. That is your focus. And even when you get into that point, you can break it down another level with, okay, I have my dropshipping store that is my main focus, but I'm splitting my time between Facebook ads and website design and product research. In a day where I have an 8-hour time block, I'm trying to do all 3 or 4 of these things at once, and it doesn't work. Your output is not there, and your ability to be successful is determined based on your output and production. Even with 10 hours or 6 hours, even really 3 hours of productive work will set you apart from 99% of other dropshippers, because they can't do 3 hours of productive work because their dopamine's fried and they don't even know how to focus. It has nothing to do with IQ. So let's say, for instance, you have a 9 to 5 and you only have 3 hours of productive work. What do most people do, and what should you do instead? Well, I would say the average person in those 3 hours a day is operating at 30% capacity. They're not getting the right sleep. Their diet is shit. They spend half of that 3 hours watching pointless videos and learning, thinking they're progressing, when really it's doing nothing for them at all, because strategies aren't the reason why you're not successful. All the tactics, strategies, and knowledges you ever need to be successful are already online. I mean, heck, I got an 8-hour free course that you can watch to know everything you need to know to get to $1,000 a day. The reason why you're not at $1,000 a day isn't because of the strategies. It's because you're working 3 hours a day or even 8 hours a day and you're not seeing progress because you're focusing on things that don't actually move the needle. And if we're really being serious, in those 8 hours a day that you're dedicating, you're really only working on 1 to 2 hours a day. It's all focus. No business, no YouTube advice, no business video is going to save you. It's about putting in the right effort into the right actions, the things that actually move the needle, which are, yes, product research, website design, creating ads and offers, and media buying. But what I personally prefer and what a good CEO does is typically they will focus on making 1 to 2 good decisions a day, and that is far greater than a bad CEO who tries to work 12 hours a day focusing on a million different things. So when you're doing your dropshipping business and you're focusing day by day, I would really recommend have a full day for just product research. Have a full day for just building websites for those products. Have a full day for just creating ads for those products. Have a full day, and usually you're going to need a bit of every day on media buying and setting up new campaigns. But usually the fastest way to progress is dedicating a full day, dedicating your full 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, to one task only. Keep it simple. Focus on one thing. And that will dramatically be more productive than anything you could have done of trying to focus on 3, 4, 5 different things all at once. Now, obviously, there's little things you can do to help you gain more time and gain more focus, like hiring a virtual assistant for customer support and order fulfillment. So you don't have to spend an hour every single day on customer support, because you shouldn't be doing that. That's a low value task that doesn't move the needle. It maintains the boat, but it doesn't speed it up. You should have a VA in a lot of cases for product research if you develop that skill enough to where you know where you have an eye for spotting winning products and you can train someone also to have that eye. But you only get that eye for once you've had multiple winning products, or you have a coach that's helping you with that also has had the experience of having multiple winning products. But until you develop those skills, until you have the track record, my friend, you have to develop those skills on your own first, because no one else is going to save you. No one else is going to do that work for you if you don't even know what a good job looks like. If you've never created a winning ad, hiring a video editor to create your ads isn't going to save you, because you don't even know what a good ad is in the first place because you've never made one. You can't know. You have no frame of reference, my friend. So you have to develop those skills, and it's by putting in the detailed work to one thing every single day. Now, the last thing you need to know, and I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving, by the way. If you can leave me a like and comment what you're thankful for, that would be amazing. I'd love to see that. I think that would really make my day. And hope you guys have a tremendous afternoon and watching some good old football with the fam. But the last thing is simply you are not progressing fast enough. And that is due to two things: your circle and not having a good enough feedback loop. When it comes to progressing, a lot of people just don't have the urgency to get the work done. You don't have this ticking time clock in your head that is telling you, oh my God, I'm not progressing today. And that should infuriate you. Everyone that has been successful inside my program, and I have had over 50 plus six-figure students, had this one trait of speed of implementation. They had this burning desire. It was like a firecracker up their ass that whenever they had something they needed to get done, they got it done immediately with urgency because they wanted to see progress. They were so pissed off when they weren't doing something that was an input to get them a result that it genuinely just made them such killers. They were so motivated. They were so determined to get work done that that's what got them success as fast as possible in a month, 2 months, even a few weeks. You have to have this urgency, and it can be a lot of things that motivate you, but it should be this core desire to always see progress, to want to finally change your life, and to realize that to change your life, you need to have urgency. You need to implement things fast. You need to be testing 1, 2, 3 products a week to get that valuable feedback, to learn, to iterate, to get better, to put in the reps, because as you put in more reps, the quality of each rep from your website 1 to website 10, from ad test 1 to ad test 10 is going to get better if you're focusing on the right things. And it comes through reps. However, there's one caveat to that, because I know I've said this idea a million times, and I did think about it recently, where I'm someone that used to play chess a lot. I was a nerd. Oh my God. Mic drop. Who would have thought? When I was in kindergarten, I joined the chess club for my K through 8 middle school, and I was actually the best chess player, believe it or not. I was incredibly autistic to some degree, and I, for some reason, could just see moves that other guys and other girls could not see. So I became a chess state champion, and after I tragically broke my pinky finger during a tournament, I had to retire early before I could become the next. I forgot the guy that's really good. Is it Max Carlsen? Something Carlsen. God, I should know that. However, I recently picked up the game and I started playing for about 30 minutes a day, I would say about a year ago. And what I noticed is even though I was doing it every single day, playing 30 minutes a day, my ELO score, which is the measurement of your ability, was around the same, even after a few weeks, and even after a few months. And what I realized is you can do the thing that's supposed to progress you, which is, in that case, playing. But if you don't learn from these experiences, if you don't learn from every product test when you apply it to dropshipping, if you're not learning new ways to improve your website and ads from test 1 to test 10, which can happen. In fact, I would say a lot of people, when you go and look at their websites from month 1 to month 5, usually it's almost the same thing. When I look at their testing strategy from month 1 to month 5, usually they're still testing with only 3 ads. They're not actually adapting, despite them not getting the results that they want. They're not improving. They're not taking any feedback from the lessons of the product test. And maybe that's because you don't know what the problem is. And that is a problem in itself, because yes, you don't know what you don't know because you haven't really done it before. And if you need help with that, then typically the way to spot your blind spots is just to work with a mentor, a one-on-one coach, which yes, I do have my own program, shameless plug, but even in my own experience, I did 50 grand in sales over my first year and I didn't make a penny profit because I didn't realize my website and my ads were dog shit until I had my first real mentor, Noah Brewer, tell me, here are the 10 things that are missing on your website. Here are the 10 things you're missing with your ads. And once I implemented that, even though I knew there was a problem, I didn't know what to change. But once I knew that, oh my God, did that unlock the door to getting to 6-figure months. So you have to be able to adapt and be honest with yourself. You know, if you're testing products right now and you're not getting results, there's something wrong. So you need to adapt. You need to improve. So do that. But if after doing that multiple times and you're still not getting results, usually it means there's just some bit of advice, there's some feedback that you're just missing, that if you change the way you tested this, and if you change the way you made your offers, and if you change the way you scripted your ads and edited them, and just made these slight improvements that frankly you probably don't know what to do, then that would have been the thing that would have unlocked a new level of success for you and broke through that silver glass ceiling you currently have on your head. Now, I'd say the final thing that I noticed personally is that you need to be in the right circle. I know for me personally, I live in Miami, and it is really empowering to know that I will never be too big for my britches. My pants ain't going to get too big for me because I will go out, I will go to a bar, and I will just see 20-year-olds casually that I'll meet, and I'll be like, hey, nice watch, nice fit, whatever. And I meet them and I talk to them, and they'll just be some of the most motivating human beings I've ever met in my life. For instance, I met a guy named Luke Alexander, who was a homeless 18-year-old that nearly committed suicide because he moved out, had an apartment that was $600 a month. He took a sales job and he said to himself, if I don't make this $600 a month to pay rent, I genuinely do not want to live anymore. And when he made that promise to himself, when he had that urgency, when he had that clock that was ticking on his life, he ended up making $5,000 that month. And then he ended up over the next 2 or 3 years making 6 figures plus a year, then teaching other people how to get into sales. And now he's making over 7 figures a year, building sales operations for people at only 23. He's my age. And when you get to just be around so many incredibly ambitious, like-minded hustlers, being around that energy, being around that environment of abundance, of people that really have their stuff together, that are supporting you, that understand your struggles, that know where you're going through, and can add value by solving problems and answering your questions and telling you what worked for them, oh my God, does it make you progress faster than anything else because you rise to the people around you. But if your current environment, your current circle is all people that are losers, they don't talk about business, they don't talk about personal growth, all they care about is other people's lies or gossip. They're just talking about basic level ideas that don't add any value to their life, then you're not going to progress as fast as you want. Take note of what your people around you are actually saying. And I know it's hard, guys. I've had to make this recently in my life of cutting off people I knew since I was in high school that I would hang out with all the time that are great people, that added value, that made me happy. But I just noticed spending time around them was dragging me down to their level. And I know it's hard. I know it seems like it's not empathetic. But I truly have greater desires for my life. And I knew if I spent that time with someone who also can be fun, that can add to my happiness, but also motivate me to accomplish more, that can show me that I can be more accountable, that I can want more from myself and open the possibilities of my eyes as to what I can do and accomplish as a person. Because if they can do it, why can't I? Then that's going to be how I achieve the goals that I've set for myself. That circle around you, take note of it. You want to be around a circle that pushes you, that keeps you accountable, that supports you and motivates you to be a better person. And if your current circle isn't doing that, then I would recommend going on Discord, talking to people on there that are going through the same journey, or joining a program where you can talk to other students that have invested, that are going through the journey, that are genuinely serious and are going all in, so you can learn from them, so you can be motivated by them, and you can be pushed by their results to also accomplish as well.